So, why is it so important for you to share your story as a public speaker? I get that question a lot from people who want to get into speaking. They have a story to tell, they want to do something with it, but one of the questions they ask, one of the hangups, before we get into all the business stuff here, one of the hangups they have in their minds is, why is it important to share my story? And that's something a lot of us ask at one point or another, or at some point in our journey in doing this. And I'm going to tell you 3 reasons in this video why it's so important for you to share your story with the world as a professional speaker. I'm Brian Fleming, founder of Use Your Story, and if you haven't done so already, go over to useyourstory.com right now and grab the free Share Your Story roadmap. It's free, and I'm going to show you step by step exactly how you can make your first $500 speaking and sharing your story. Yes, again, this is free. I don't charge for it. I give it away. It's free. It costs you nothing. So go grab that if you want to make a difference and a side income, especially your first $500 speaking. I line out exactly how to do that. Go grab it right now at useyourstory.com. So why is it important to share your story? Reason number 1, it heals you. What do I mean by that? After I got home from the war in Afghanistan, I was injured. I met my mentor, the guy who got me into speaking. He told me something one time. He said, every time you speak, Brian, you get a little bit better. I thought, yeah, that makes sense. Every time you get on stage, you get a little bit better, a little bit better. And that's true. You do. Like anything in life, if you do something a lot, you'll get better at it. But he actually had a dual meaning to that. He didn't mean I was just going to get better at speaking. What he meant was, in here, I got better every time I told my story. He didn't tell me that early on, but that's what he meant. And he knew that because he had walked this same journey himself after coming home injured from Vietnam and putting his life back together and becoming a speaker, an author, and a huge success. So every time you tell your story, you get a little bit better. Not only at telling your story, but it heals you. It chips away at that trauma on the inside. When you are ready to speak, it's that next level. It chips away little by little by little. It brings down that guard. It chips away at a lot of that trauma, those things, those hang-ups that you've had in your life. Because as you do this, that's what naturally happens. Because it's a means of expressing what's on the inside of you. And if you keep stuff, pushed down way too long, you know what they say. You push it down for way too long, one day it's just going to explode. Speaking is sort of like a release valve as far as telling our stories and doing something with it that's productive, because it's not just about us. It's not really even about our story. It's about what our story can do in the world. And this all ties together. But you have to realize that every time you tell your story, you get a little bit better. It heals you. The second reason it's important to share your story is that it heals other people. I remember the first time I spoke on a stage after my injury. I was still in black compression garments for the 3rd-degree burns on my hands. My face and neck were still pink from the 2nd-degree burns from my war injury. And I got up, and my mentor put me on stage. He said, Brian, take 2 minutes and tell them about yourself. Tell them your story. Now, I was not really expecting this to happen. I didn't realize that sitting in the front row, 3,000 people had filled into this gymnasium. And he said, come on up here, Brian. Tell them about yourself. It was like a fastball to the face from 5 feet away. It's time to just go for it. So I got up and I said, hey, I'm Brian. I got blown up a couple times, injured by a suicide bomber, but I'm here. I'm good. I'll get better. I'm moving on with life. And I didn't know that would even do anything for anybody, because it was probably the worst motivational speech you've ever heard. But here's the deal. After I stepped off stage, my life changed. And here's what happened. A young lady in her mid-20s, about my age at the time, she came up to me and she told me about how she'd been raped and abused and molested growing up by, her family members. And then her boyfriend was abusive in the same way. And then he had just broken up with her. And 2 weeks before she came to the event where I was speaking, she had failed suicide. She tried to kill herself and failed. And she didn't even tell me her name, but she told me all this stuff. And she just walked right up to me afterwards and said it. And I didn't know what to say. What do you say to somebody who says things like that just out of the blue? I was kind of stammering, just sort of saying, gosh, I'm so sorry. I can't imagine, because I can't. But she interrupted me and she said, yeah, but you know what? Here's the thing. She said, if you can get through all of that, referring to my war injury, If you can survive all that, she said, I think I can get through this. My life changed. Here's what happened that I didn't know was going to happen. I found a sense of meaning in my suffering. Viktor Frankl, who survived the Holocaust, the author of Man's Search for Meaning, one of the best books ever written, he said that when it comes to suffering, suffering ceases to be suffering at the moment it finds a meaning. Suffering ceases to be suffering at the moment it finds a meaning. I found a meaning in my suffering in that moment. That was what lit this fuse in me to become a speaker. All those years ago, I'm going on 17 years, coming up here pretty soon. Your story can heal other people. Your story can heal our world. If you're willing to share your story to the extent that you're comfortable and address a problem that people are facing in this world, that they're booking speakers for, you can heal other people. And there's almost no greater thing. It's not that you're healing them. You are sharing, I guess it doesn't sound right. You're sharing in their healing. You're getting to contribute to their healing, I think is a better way to put it. So not only does sharing your story heal you, it heals other people as well. And the third reason it's so important to share your story is because it makes you a part of something greater than yourself, a community, a fraternity of humanity that is doing something meaningful in this world that will outlive you. When you tell your story, when you put it online, when you go speak to audiences, your story lives on through other people. The healing that people got because sometimes they just realize that somebody out there understands them and they're not alone. That one little thing is a huge thing for a lot of people, even if you don't have a lot of answers for them. But you become part of a community of people who have lived throughout history, whose life stories and lessons live beyond them, that outlive them. When you die, your lessons will still be helping people in generations to come in their times of need. These videos, this video right now, will be out there 100 years after I'm dead and gone. I mean, unless the world explodes and humanity just goes extinct and we don't have technology or something, this video and all my videos will be out there helping you. You might be watching this video 5 years after my death. And if you are, I'm so glad I'm sitting here shooting this for you right now. And I hope you'll take my advice and use it so you can share your story and have a meaningful impact and make a meaningful difference in the world in a way that matters with the one life you have. So this is why it's so important to share your story, to get out there and do it. Forget the struggles. I know it's hard sometimes, but it's important because not only does telling your story heal you, it helps other people heal. And it makes you a part of something bigger than yourself that will outlive you and make a meaningful difference in the world. Now, what's going to happen as you put your speech together, as you try to put your story together in a way that's effective, and I'll teach you how to do that, you're going to find that you're going to run up against the wall of how do I get booked to speak? And that's what this channel is for. That's what this whole program is for. Watch the next video that you see up here or the next lesson, whatever it is, and I'm going to walk you step by step in a very simple way through a lot of things that you need to uncover, things you need to answer. I'm just going to walk you along those paths. I'm going to walk you through a little minefield, but I'm going to teach you where to step so you don't step on a bomb, okay? A little bit of military humor there because I've been around some bombs and they don't feel good when they go off near you. Anyway, click the next lesson and check it out. I'll see you there.